When the web started, websites owned their audiences. If you wanted to advertise to techies, you bought an ad in Wired magazine. Or the New York Times if you wanted to target coastal liberals. Advertising on the early web was exactly like it was in newspapers and magazines, with advertisements designed skeuomorphically. But then Facebook came around and changed everything. By the late 2000s, advertisers could find every demographic imaginable on Facebook, including the New York Times and Wired audiences. So even though Facebook was downstream of the New York Times or any other website that published original content, it was actually upstream of them in terms of advertising demographics. As a result, websites that published content to very targeted audiences lost all their bargaining power. The New York Times audience disappeared. It all just became the Facebook audience. And then Facebook introduced lookalike audiences, which allowed advertisers to find demographics similar to the one they thought were their target audience. This increased the click-through rate and corresponding profit from running ads by orders of magnitude. But because Google and Facebook sit in the middle of all this advertising, they operate like monopolies and have unbelievably high gross margins, Facebook's being 80%. So two companies are sucking up all the value of online advertising at the expense of consumers. The vision of web3 is to push all that value controlled by Facebook and Google out to the edges to the users themselves. This is done by decentralizing the infrastructure and execution layers of platforms, which means that the value gets spread out to the edges instead of being concentrated in the middle. All these protocol tokens that you see that are valued in billions of dollars in some cases represent shares in the usage of these protocols. There's a lot of work to be done, and very little market share has been taken away from Web2 behemoths. But the future is very promising if Web3 can gain adoption, which I believe it will.